Hi everyone, this is Erica back with a message. God spoke something to me about 2 days ago. Forgive me, God. I was supposed to post it right away. So excuse me if you feel the rush in my voice. I'm just trying to be obedient and get this out as soon as possible. Make sure you pray over this word, test the spirits, make sure it's from God, and see how this message pertains to you. So I was at the park 2 days ago with my family, and over by the swings, I saw two brothers talking to each other, and their mom was not too far off in the distance. And the younger brother was calling the older brother's name, and his name is Isaiah. And he was telling his mom something, and he said, Isaiah ate one. And I'm not sure if this was in reference to food, snacks, or whatever was being eaten at the time, but how Holy Spirit gave me the message, it was Isaiah 8:1, as in the number 8. And God speaks to me in various ways. When I say I whipped out my Bible in a quickness, my Bible app, to see exactly what God was speaking about. So I'll go ahead and read Isaiah 8, and then I'll jump into the message. So Isaiah 8, and excuse me if my reading is a little off. I can't find my glasses, so I might be straining. I'm just going to try to push through and get this out. Okay, Isaiah 8. Then the Lord said to me, take a large tablet and write on it in common characters, belonging to Maher Shalal Hashbaz, and I will get reliable witnesses, Uriah the priest and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah, to attest for me. And I went to the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son. Then the Lord said to me, call his name Maher Shalal Hashbaz, for before the boy knows how to cry, my father or my mother, the wealth of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria will be carried away before the king of Assyria. The Lord spoke to me again, because this people has refused the waters of Shiloah that flow gently, and rejoice over Rezin and the son of Remaliah. Therefore, behold, the Lord is bringing up against them the waters of the river, mighty and many, the king of Assyria and all his glory. And it will rise over all its channels and go over all its banks, and it will sweep into Judah. It will overflow and pass on, reaching even to the neck, and its outspread wings will fill the breadth of your land, O Emmanuel. Be broken, you peoples, and be shattered. Give ear, all you far countries. Strap on your armor and be shattered. Strap on your armor and be shattered. Take counsel together, but it will come to nothing. Speak a word, but it will not stand, for God is with us. For God spoke thus to me with his strong hand upon me, and warned me not to walk in the way of this people, saying, do not call conspiracy all that this people calls conspiracy, and do not fear what they fear, nor be in dread. But the Lord of hosts, him you shall honor as holy. Let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And he will become a sanctuary and a stone of offense and a rock of stumbling to both houses of Israel, a trap and a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many shall stumble on it. They shall fall and be broken. They shall be snared and be taken. Bind up the testimony, seal the teaching among my disciples. I will wait for the Lord, who is hiding his face from the house of Jacob, and I will hope in him. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord has given me are signs and portents in Israel from the Lord of hosts who dwell on Mount Zion. And when they say to you, inquire of the mediums and in necromancers who chirp and mutter, should not a people inquire of their God? Should they inquire of the dead on behalf of the living? To the teaching and to the testimony. If they will not speak according to this word, it is because they have no dawn. They will pass through the land greatly distressed and hungry. And when they are hungry, they will be enraged and speak contemptuously against their king and their God, and turn their faces upward. And they will look to the earth, but behold, distress and darkness, the gloom of anguish. and they will be thrust into thick darkness. And that's the end of Isaiah 8, English Standard Version. So as you know, the whole section of the whole chapter of Isaiah 8 is basically referring to the coming of the Assyrian invasion. I actually did a deep dive study on the Assyrians a few years ago, but long story short, what we know as Assyria is today's modern day Iraq. So God was using these two young boys at the park to highlight to me the upcoming war that the U.S. will have with Iraq. Now, before anyone thinks this is for clicks or fear mongering, that is not what it is at all. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. This is not to get anyone shaking in their boots. That's not why God warns his children. He is letting us know that this is coming because this is something that he wants us to prepare for. What I will say is, obviously, we all have access to the news and internet, and what you see on the news can stir up some feelings. But we need to recognize that the world is a stage, okay? Everything that we see is not true. And we need the Holy Spirit to discern what God is doing in the earth right now. Not what CNN says, not what Fox News decides to tell us, but what God is deciding to show us right now. So I pray everyone that is listening to this message and it resonates with them, that you pray against the spirit of delusion, okay? Because our truth comes from the source. It does not come from what we see on TV and on the internet. Me personally, I can say that God has shown me an upcoming war, whether it be in dreams, visions. He has shown me airplanes, 747s, telling me to stock up on food. We can all, hop in the comments and talk about what we've all seen. We all know that he's pouring his spirit out on everyone right now, as it says in the word. But what I'm trying to stress through this message is, what are your specific divine instructions that God has for you? Acts 2:17 says, "And it shall be in the last days, says God, that I will pour out my spirit upon all mankind, and your sons and daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see divinely prompted visions, and your old men shall dream divinely prompted dreams." So there is nothing that God can show me that he can't show someone else. Take this message to the Lord, see how he wants you to prepare, keep your family covered. I decree and declare a Psalms 91 protection over everyone that hears this message. And this is not something to ignore, not something to laugh about, not something to just shrug off, because God is so serious right now. And what is coming is not for the faint of heart. You are going to need to be fully strapped with your spiritual armor and abiding with the Lord, walking closely with him so you can receive what it is that you need to hear in order to protect your family. I pray that we are all counted worthy to escape. Thank you for listening to this message, and I'll see you guys in the next video.